so I'm rebooting in. So any questions?
And just to make sure everybody knows that, you know, hopefully when Courtney's screen went blank, now you see the participant box and the chat box. You can type in the chat box where it says right under send to, and what you want to do is send to host and presenter, or all panelists, or all participants, depending on who you want to read your message. A question has come in. When students are asked to identify 4 things, do the readers look at the first 4 and ignore the rest?
That's a funny question, because that was what I had just was about to go to when the computer froze.
Mitch Cohen is prescient, I guess.
Yes, you read my mind. If it asks for 1 or 2 or 4, although it doesn't usually ask for 4, we are only allowed to, it looks like I'm getting back on maybe, we're only allowed to read, we have to read everything they wrote, but we're only allowed to score on the first 1 or the first 2, depending on what it asks. So unfortunately, if it asks for 1 and the kid gives us 2 answers, and the first one is wrong and the second one is right, they get 0 points. So I tell my kiddos to think about what they want to say, and, you know, pick whichever one they think is best and just say that. Don't waste time writing other ones, because we can only grade the first thing. Also on that note, they should also say, let's say it asks for 2. They need to spell it out. First, blah, 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 period. Secondly, so that the reader knows, okay, this is the first answer, this is the second answer. There's no question. Because like I tell my students, when they're taking an FRQ in here at the end of a unit, I'm around to ask a question too, and they're around if I'm grading it and I have a question for them. But that does not happen at the reading. We cannot read minds. We cannot ask questions. We can only read what's right. And so if they say first and second, I know. There's no question in my mind that this is their answers or their 2 answers or whatever. Still says connecting. So any other questions?
Yes. I thought the FRQ accounted for about 40% of the total score. Has that changed? And if so, how?
No, it still accounts for 40%, 10 points for each FRQ, and then the multiple choice is 60%.
What happens if a student does not separate the answers into A, B, and C parts, and instead writes just one long response?
Okay, that's also coming up on my PowerPoint. Technology. Okay, we will grade it, yes. We grade the big, giant mega paragraphs. However, if you can train your kids not to do that, that's best. Because what ends up happening, if the kid says A and responds to A, I know they responded to A. And then they go on to B, and I know this is B. But when it's one big, giant mega paragraph, sometimes I'll be reading it, and right at the beginning, that sounds like the answer to B, but they put it first, so maybe it was the answer to A. Okay, wait, no, this seems like the answer to A, and you end up kind of guessing because, you know, we're only human. And so my thing is, they might lose points, you know, because we don't know that, oh, they're trying to answer questions, they're trying to answer A here or B here, etc. Cindy, is it showing me still as a presenter? Because it is just still connecting.
It's not. What happened last time when it got hung up? Did you start again, or did it eventually?
I started again. Should I do that? I'm going to try again.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. So did that answer that question?
Yeah, there's a couple more questions coming in. Can students get elaboration points for a very good explanation?
Okay, there used to be elaboration points. For years, there were elaboration points, and when you look at any of the older FRQs, say, I don't know, 2004 or earlier, they got elaboration points. Now, I'm not on the test development committee, but I have not seen any elaboration points in many years. So my thought is that they're not giving elaboration points anymore because we haven't seen it since like 2005, I guess. It's been a long time since we've seen that. The other thing we have is just a like give an answer. Most of the time it says give 1 or give 2, and I think probably the idea behind that is we have grown so much that we're now grading 100,000 exams on, And there's only a couple hundred of us, and we only have so many days to get them all graded. And so no longer are we reading and trying to grade this, like let's vomit up everything we can ever think of and write it on the paper kind of information. Oh, wait, I think I'm getting back on.
Yep, there you are. Yay. I'm making
okay.
you presenter. There actually are a couple more questions, though, if you want to.
Are you able to see my screen again?
Yes, it's still, those are the same 5.
Right.
There we go.
Now,
okay.
Now? Okay. Should I keep going or stop or answer the questions?
Why don't we answer the questions just because if more come in, if they get buried, deep behind. There's a question about how do you practically grade FRQs for your classes and give meaningful feedback?
When I'm giving a test, well, I only give released AP exam questions. I only give the released. Yes, they're online. I know they're online. I know the kids can get them online. In fact, I tell my kids where to get them online and get mad at them if they have not gone online to look for them, because I don't care how they learn the information. I don't care if they learn it from listening to me. I don't care if they learn it from reading the book. I don't care if they learn it from watching a movie. I don't care if they learn it from doing a lab. And I don't care if they learn it by looking over the rubric. They can't use the rubric during the FRQ, so that if that's how they want to learn it, then I'm fine with that. So, and then I just use the rubric on the, that's printed on the College Board to. So my thing to the kids is, if it's on the rubric, you get the point. If it's not on the rubric, you don't get the point. So that's how I grade it. I write all over their paper, like things like explain, why, how, things like that, complete sentence when I'm grading their FRQ.
Okay, and then a question about the points. If they earn 11 points on one FRQ, does the extra point count towards the 40 points they earn for the FRQs in total?
If they earned 11, they can only get a 10. However, if it's an 11-pointer and they missed one, they still get a 10. So it's kind of like a bonus point, but no, they can never earn an 11. And a question popped up for me on mine about do I grade all of the FRQs? And yes, I do. And I have 160 students. So it takes a long time, but you get faster. And, if you've got the rubric right in front of you, it does start off slow and start getting faster. If that answers somebody's question, Tim or somebody, I don't know, just bubbled up and then left. Any other questions?
What happens if a student has a correct response to B, but has it in the A section? And actually, that's another question similar. If the student labels their paper A, B, C, and answers B in the C part, do they still get credit for B?
Oh, that's a tough question. I've never seen that happen. My guess would be probably they wouldn't get the point because they labeled it B, so they need to be careful with that. I guess it might be like a special, like you'd have to take it to the question leader to find out if they would accept at the reading.
And then one last question. Do you grade all of those questions, all of those FRQs yourself?
Yeah, that's the question I just answered.
Okay.
Yes, I have 160 of them, but it goes fast.